And good morning, Hoosier Nation, and welcome to another disappointing edition of Hoosier Morning After. This is Hoosier Morning After Michigan State. Last night, your Indiana Hoosiers would go on to lose to Michigan State 60-81. Another missed opportunity for this team. A season now sitting at 12-5 and 3-3, 50% in the Big Ten. Just another missed opportunity. A ranked opponent on the road. One of the most hostile environments this team has seen so far in the year. Just an interesting game, a mixture of a game. This Indiana team continues to show that they're going to struggle to put together 40 minutes of actual good, strong play in a few games, and we haven't really seen it yet from them. It was a great battle to start. IU was hitting some threes, really making Michigan State one-dimensional, forcing them out of their normal game. They didn't really feed it into the post, doing a good job on switches, limiting post touches for Michigan State, forcing them to take threes that they normally don't do. And it worked for them. IU got up to a 7-point lead at one point in the first half, but some turnovers and fouling and Teague, Michigan State's player, Teng. I could never figure out how they were calling his name, but him coming in the second half and just hitting threes and scoring 9 points. I think he did. A majority of his points in that last bit of the first half would flip the lead for Michigan State up by 7 going into half. And I thought out of the break, Indiana did a pretty good job to stay engaged and try to get this thing going, and had brought the game back tied. And by the 11-minute mark, it was tied 53-53. But at that point, just be it being gassed, lack of attention to detail, and Michigan State just having a deeper bench, IU just went cold on the offensive end and wouldn't score for 6 minutes. And during a total of, wouldn't score for 6 minutes, nearly 10 minutes from 11 on the clock to about 2 on the clock. IU was outscored by Michigan State 28-2. And the final 11 minutes total of the game, IU would only score 7 points. So half of a half, last 10 minutes, as we see with this team, it just doesn't show up. It's really sad to see. Thank you, guys, for being here with me anyways, so we can sit and suffer through these games like this together. I'm your host, Chad Schwartzkopf. We'll see if Martha's able to pop in at one point. I know Martha had a busy morning work-wise, so we'll see if we get that pop in. Not exactly the outing we expected. It was going to be a tough one to go into Michigan State and try to win the game. This is a ranked Michigan State team. They're ranked, I think, currently 12th in the nation. They are a very athletic team. They're not a three-point shooting team, but they're going to get to the hoop. They got some veteran players down low that really kind of help them out. And I think IU did a pretty good job overall limiting that. Defense did a pretty good job despite some early fouling. And you kind of see that when IU was playing teams that are a little bit more athletic than them, they get into foul trouble. IU gets a little bit more handsy. They make up for that lack of athleticism and get a little more physical and those touch fouls. I will give them some credit, at least. In the first half, IU was able to limit Michigan State to 2 second chance points. That's a big one. Michigan State, like I said, having those big guys underneath, that's kind of a lot of their game plan. And you kind of heard Robbie Hummel talk about that in the second half when Michigan State was struggling, when IU was surging back at the beginning. Part of their best offense, especially against teams like Indiana, is to get a shot up there that misses and allow your big guys to get that rebound and get second chance points. So in the first half, at least, 2 second chance points. Obviously, that changes in the second half for them as they got 9 second chance points, but still nothing too crazy. I think IU did a pretty good job overall game planning against that. It just shows you that where it is. IU tried to stay engaged, tries to face physical always on the offensive or defensive end of the ball. And it's when you have teams with that athletic gap that rears its head like it did in this one, where you get guys into foul trouble. And I think this is the first game that we've had multiple guys foul out because of that. And it won't be the last. This is kind of things that we will see as legs get tired in games, hands get a little bit more active, and fouls rear their ugly head. Offensively, when you look at the box score, you can look at the point totals for this game, and you've got Lamar up there at 19 and then a bunch of single digits below him. Not a single player other than Lamar was in double digits. IU is not going to win if they can't get at least 3 guys in double digit scoring. Second half, the team started cutting to the basket a little bit more. You did see some adjustments, and I do like that. So it's interesting because in these games, when you see Indiana struggle, I do see some adjustments in the halftime from the coaching staff, and you do see there is a good plan for this team of trying to execute this. I think it's just the injuries and the how the roster came together that's just not conducive for it. So I'm not wanting to give up completely on all of that, all of the defense, all of the offense on the game planning and the structure of this team overall, but I'm not going to excuse it as well. I mean, this is the bed, this is the team that the coaching staff made. So they're doing their best, I think, with the hand that they've been dealt. It's just giving IU some struggles. Second half, like I said, the cutting was really good, and that's what allowed Indiana. It looked crisper. Guys looked a little bit more engaged, and you saw that success. That's when IU came back and was able to flip the script. Defense settled in, but then once those tired legs kicked in, that's where you lost those cuts. That's where the fouling and everything happened. So it'll be interesting to see how Indiana can put together 40 minutes. Can we find a way to get 40 minutes together? Can we find a little bit more scoring and relief from other guys that allows that to happen? Can we get a few more guys back from injury? I know we have 1 or 2 guys still sitting there with injuries. So I don't know. It's a lot of work in the postseason in the portal that Indiana has to do. You need a guy, a threat down below to help those things going. And IU doesn't have that. IU has 0 post game. There's no post presence in this one, and it's causing this team to be one dimensional. Without having that guy that can be a threat in the post to be that gravity drawer, like we saw before, Trace Jackson Davis. It's like almost the inverse problem that we used to have, is where all the gravity was in the post for Indiana the past couple of years. And despite trying to kick it out, IU didn't have the shooters around. Now it's the other way around. That post suck that we have, kind of 2 meanings to that phrase, isn't there, and is only there by getting drives to the basket. Touching the paint, the only way we do is getting downhill. Lamar does that, and does that in a good way to be able to get downhill and everything like that. And then you get Tate and Connerway. Tatum's our main post presence in this team is him getting downhill, getting east, north, south, getting to the paint, throwing up crazy shots like he did. He had a fantastic reverse at that one point. and then being that threat to cause guys to suck in and then being able to kick it out. So hopefully we can find that in the offseason. If you have that guy that draws things in like that, then it's just going to open up the outside game so much better. So again, the word hope always comes up with me, and I'm hopeful for that in the future of this team. And I hate, as early in the season, I am talking about what Indiana needs to do in the post season. But hey, that's where things are rearing their head right now with this team. I will say props to Lamar. Speaking about individual players in this game, he tried to put this team on his back. He went for 19 points on 6 of 14 shooting, 5 for 11 from the 3-point line, and 2 for 2 from the free throw line. So didn't get to the free throw line very much. It was kind of later in the game, as I have seen with him, where he finally started to try to get downhill on his own. That would be my one critique of him, is I would like to see him get downhill earlier to kind of cause teams to have to abandon a little bit of what they do, of the pressure of him out on the 3-point line, because that's how teams are going to play him. But I think he did what he could in this game, and he's one of those players that I hope we don't look back at this team and say, like we have in the past with some, Romeo comes to mind with that, and you get these really good players in there, and you're just unable to surround him with things that can maximize what he could be for this team. There are chances, there are players that can be, but like I was saying, the next thing I guess to talk about in this would be the point guards. I think Tucker and Enright, maybe not fully point guards, but Tucker and Enright are the players on Indiana's roster that need to be on the floor for as long as they can be. I know they aren't scoring like crazy always, but they bring an intensity and an organization on the floor that is missed when they're not. You can kind of see that, especially when you don't have Tucker on the floor. And it's not just about his scoring threat and everything like that, but just the leadership. The cutting looks a lot crisper. The screens and the offense is a lot more active. There's a lot more movement and stuff when he's out there, because he's almost being a point guard. He's pushing the players to get into those sets and everything going. And it's too bad that you have to have a player like that. The players should be able to buy in a little bit more. And honestly, maybe, again, I hate to sound like I'm saying this excuse, but maybe it is those tired legs towards the end of the game that's causing the guys to struggle to get going for that. So you just need him for as many minutes as you can. And Enright struggled in this game because he got into early foul trouble, and then kind of got in his head when good defense by Fears, I will say, kind of mixing it up with him and causing that turnover with the fast break. But Enright's good enough to kind of brush that off. This was honestly, if you go back to last podcast that I did, I thought that Enright would be the one to get the technical in this game, not Reed Bailey, just from being frustrated in this game and just being the dog that he is. And we weren't able to see that come out. Obviously, he did get chippy a couple times, had that dangerous play that you don't want to see one of your players doing, undercutting a big guy as he goes up. But he needs to be that gnat and that annoying guy. And we didn't get to fully see that because of foul trouble and how things went in this game for him. He did at least have a moment where he did continue to be kind of a bit of a threat on the offensive side. I did like to see that he did get that. I guess maybe they called it a 2. I thought he made a 3. No, he did. He made two threes. Took 3 threes total in this game. But he ended up fouling out in this game. Now that did remind me of that technical And I did want to talk about that one briefly. Our first technical of this team, I did not, again, expect it to come from Reed Bailey, but I don't blame Reed Bailey. I cannot stand the hook and hold rules. If you rewind, I think it was about 3 years ago, you'd see hook and holds were being called like crazy because that was the emphasis from the officials meeting, obviously, that year. And you got hook and holds being called like crazy. Now you don't get them at all. And this one gets brushed off maybe because they're trying to say the rules, if there's not a pulling with the hook, which doesn't make sense because it's not hook and pull, it's hook and hold. And by definition of the words listed in the foul, hook, hold, that looked pretty textbook of a hook. And he held him there. He couldn't move. He had to pull his arm away. And Reed got frustrated and gave him a little shove from it, a little bit of exaggeration by the Michigan State player. And I don't know why that doesn't get called a foul on both sides. And that was the one that caused Reed Bailey to go out in the game. Honestly, wasn't doing too much for the team anyways. He had some good slips on some pick and rolls situations in the first half that got him one basket. He did get fouled a couple times and was 3 for 4 from the field. But again, just not that post presence that we need. More of a 4 guy technically on another roster. So tough to see that, and tough to see weird foul calls like that. The other player on IU's roster that we've seen a lot in other games and just didn't get it out of him in this game, and I fear we're going to use up all of his legs. He's going to be darn near exhausted by the we come towards the tail end of this season. But it's Tayton Connerway. Tayton has to be the man each game for Indiana. That's a lot, obviously, for one guy, but on this team, he has to be the man because of the lack of post play. He has to be Indiana's post play. He has to be that player to get downhill and touch the paint. Now, he had 9 assists in this game. That is really great. He could have almost gotten a double-double, 9 assists and just 2 turnovers. And it's weird to say, but I want more turnovers from him. I do. I want him to turn over it more, because if I see more turnovers from him, that means he was attacking the paint, and he was that loose cannon looking for those little windows and stuff like that. Obviously, I don't want it to stack up and contribute to the rest of the team, but I want to see him being that downhill presence that we've seen in other games for this team. Finishes with just 5 points on 2 for 5 shooting, 0 for 2 from 3, missed 1 free throw to go 1 for 2. So yeah, he has to be that additional dog for this team. He has to be that player that other coaches are saying we have to stop him from driving. And that when you get that from him or from opponents, that leads to him getting fouled, getting to the line. And you saw that in a couple times where he tried to drive and Michigan State tried to overcompensate for that speed on defense and got a little couple touch and body fouls, impeding his progress to the paint. But that's what he has to be. That's who he has to be for this team. Because there is no threat in the paint other than the pick and rolls. Other than that, when have you seen, or how often have you seen a man on Indiana's team back a guy down and make a shot? Not very often. The most I would say is that you've seen Tucker do that. I've seen Tucker do that and do his little turnaround fade away more than I have seen IU's 2 quote unquote big men down there demanding the ball, operating and being a threat. So not to belabor that point too much, but that is where I see the biggest issue and the biggest, obviously, sticky note up on the whiteboard of Indiana's recruiting board for the offseason. Turnovers, looking at some stats in this game. Turnovers in this game, 14 turnovers led to 29 points from Michigan State. Now, it feels a little counterintuitive, as I just talked about wanting to have Dayton have more turnovers in a game, sure. But that's just turnovers overall throughout the whole entire team, 4 of which came from Reed Bailey. Otherwise, a couple twos on other teams. It was really kind of the little stretch and when those turnovers happened, because when Indiana went on that huge scoring drought, 6 of the 9 possessions during that in the second half led to turnovers. So 6 turnovers in 9 of those possessions. So it's when they come in bunches like that, when they become in drought, when the turnovers are really a tough thing. I thought overall, at least outside of that bad portion of the game, IU did a good job trying to limit the rebounds for Michigan State. It was just in that second half when you kind of look at the stats overall. Let me bring it up here if I can to see exactly what it is. When you go 7 rebounds for Indiana to 21 by Michigan State, that's where you know the issue became an issue, and where either the ball's bouncing bad or those tired legs are struggling to go grab those baskets. So that's obviously not a fantastic thing to see on the stat sheet. Overall shooting from this team in this game, I was 42%, nearly 43% from the field, 32% from 3-point, and 72 from the free throw. They would get to the line just 11 shots of free throws. So obviously that shows part of that attack. Stat that I always like to say in these games is assist to made baskets, and that at least looks good in 17 to 21. Obviously, the rearing head to flip that to a negative is that IU was 21 for 49. So a good ratio there, but not a good percentage of those made shots for Indiana. And it shows kind of first half Indiana was 43% and 35, and that second half it's was close, 42 and 29 from 3-point. So where do I sit with this team? It's interesting. It's a team that you want to do well, and there are the games that you've seen some good things, and there's been some positives from this team, and I'm not going to be, and you'll never will see, at least from me, if you've watched any of the abysmal seasons that we've had to podcast about. I will never give up on teams and everything like that, but things are getting a little bit tougher and a little bit tighter for this team. And I hate to kind of start to talk about games and decisions on must win, that kind of situation, because right now Indiana still sits at kind of a fringe tournament team. The ball is in their court, though. They have to win the ones they're supposed to, and you got to steal a few games, because that's, again, what we have struggled with, is capitalizing on opportunities. Louisville was an opportunity that was lost. Kentucky was an opportunity that was lost. Nebraska was an opportunity that Indiana was up and had a chance and lost. And almost all of those, including this one, the common denominator in that is the lack of 40 minutes of play. There is a 10-minute stretch at some point in the game, not always at the end, that there's a slump, and opponents have capitalized on that. And IU has lost because of that. Now, Indiana comes home on Saturday, and like I said, I don't like to say must wins, but this game on Saturday against Iowa is as close to a must win as you would say. Iowa is doing fairly well this year under their new coaching staff. They put together a decent enough roster, kept a few guys and everything. So they're doing pretty well. So Indiana needs to hold home court in this game, and they need to win this game to stay out of a scary situation. So yeah, I will take this opportunity though real quick before I forget and talk about the unofficial sponsor of this game, talking about a home game coming up with Iowa. Hoosier Ticket Project, HoosierTicketProject.org. If you find yourself a little bit more frustrated not wanting to go to this Iowa game, or headed down to Miami for football and unable to use those season tickets that you have back for basketball, think about Hoosier Ticket Project for those tickets. They will find a good home. They will find a good fans out there that may not have the financial means to get to games and get them their first experience in Assembly Hall. It's a great program, great place. Go to HoosierTicketProject.org. You can donate there. You can also give a monetary donation if you would like, and you can also nominate fans to receive tickets to Indiana games. So love what they do over there. Wish there was possibly, I need to talk to Martha and the guys at Hoosier Ticket Project. Maybe they can open a college playoff portion of that, take in donations where Hoosiers can make sure other Hoosiers are buying tickets. It doesn't have to be a free one. Maybe we buy the tickets this time, not for the outrageous price that you see on the second market for this final game. But go over there, check out HoosierTicketProject.org, a wonderful organization for Hoosier Nation. So yeah, it's the big one on Saturday, guys. It's a big one for this team, a big time win. Need to make a statement at home and put another win in the column because it could be the first bad loss for Indiana to lose this at home. I'd have to look at it again. I think it's still probably a quad 2 situation, so it wouldn't be would be Indiana's, I think, first loss out of quad 1 if they lose that one at home. But an interesting one. So programming note, though, otherwise, I am starting the drive down to Miami tomorrow on Thursday. So I'll be leaving here. I live in Charlotte, be driving down the road. I've got some great stickers and stuff on my car and everything. If you're making the drive early, let's wave, let's honk at each other as we're driving down. A lot of people might be flying otherwise, though, but I've got to go down to Miami for a wedding beforehand, so I'm going to be down there anyways. I am asking out there, though, to Hoosier Nation. I had a ticket for the game and everything through some family friends. Unfortunately, they needed that ticket for someone else to be able to go. It was a important situation that this person goes, so I was more than willing to offer up my ticket. That I do not deserve to go over this person that needed to go without going into detail like that. So that being said, I am on the market for tickets. So find me on Facebook, find me on Twitter at General Chadwick. Let me know if you have a ticket available. Don't have a huge budget to spend, so I'm not going to spend those crazy prices that you see on there, but may still, even if I don't have a ticket, try to get to at least the area, see the tailgates, hang out and everything, since I'm going to be down there anyways. Maybe get a last minute ticket and everything. But if you have tickets available, please reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you, see if we can come to a situation. If not, though, guys, I will be out around hanging out. Follow me on Twitter at General Chadwick. I'll put out videos as I'm walking around. I'm going to carry around some Hoosier Morning After stickers. So you see the logo that we have for Hoosier Morning After. I'll have some stickers with me. So come up, say hey, ask for a sticker. I'll have those for you free of charge and everything. So, but thank you for Hoosier Nation for being a part of that. What a fantastic thing this is to get to go to a football championship Indiana game. I can't wait to see what kind of crowd is there, what kind of situation, and watch possibly a fantastic game in person. So for now, that's probably it for this show. So we won't do a show after the Saturday game, as I will be down there in Miami. We will hopefully do a follow-up show either Wednesday of next week to talk about this Saturday game and the football game So excited to see what kind of situation we are. Hopefully we're smiles. Hopefully we're excited when that situation comes around. Again, reach out to me. You've got some good tickets and everything like that. Looking for possibly 4 total. Follow me on Twitter at General Chadwick. There you can find out more information about the show. Follow me along as I am at the game and everything. Until then, guys, go out there. Have yourselves a wonderful day. Be safe driving. As we say in the family, waff talk. Watch out for the other guy. And let's go Hoosiers.